Okay, so here we are with our second episode of Jeepin' with Jack. Um, Again, what we're going to try to do is do these little webcasts on YouTube, and we're hopeful that maybe we can do maybe a webcast, once a month, a couple times a month, and then we'll just see how it goes. So this is the second one, and again, the idea is that, oh, hey, we're getting our phone book. Very nice. So anyway, we're hoping that, the idea of this is to get a little perspective on, how 7 and 8-year-olds see the issues of the day, and then whatever issues affect them. And so I think today one of the things that we're going to talk about, Jack, you brought up at dinner the other night, is you and some of your friends were playing Gaga.
Yeah.
And
then all most of my friends there were double hit. They were all arguing, so we couldn't play that. So now we have to wait for this week.
okay, so they were playing Gaga and they were arguing, and so now the teacher said they have to wait a week before they can play again. And
Yeah.
Jack, you raised a good point about, how counterproductive arguing can be sometimes.
Yeah.
And
That can be really bad.
yeah, so tell us a little bit about, when to maybe argue, when not to argue, and maybe some of the consequences of arguing.
Well, you know how you have taxes? Everybody has taxes, and it gets really high.
Mhm.
Well, you should never argue about your taxes, and then they have the right to hire them. So you should never argue about your taxes.
Okay, so there you go, everyone. Don't argue with the IRS, because Jack is concerned that if you do, they're going to raise your taxes. And then, of course,
You should never argue with the police, since they can arrest you too.
yeah. So that's good advice. Unless, of course, you have a lawyer and you're in court,
Yeah.
and then you could argue your case. That might be okay.
Yeah.
Are there any times where maybe it's okay to argue?
Yeah, there is.
Can you think of any?
Well, you can't argue. Well, you can't argue about your food, but
Can't
don't
argue about-
argue at a restaurant's food, since they can make your food go higher.
Yeah.
Just argue about your food at the house. You can argue about stuff at your house, but you should never argue about it at somebody in public,
Yeah. Well, that's a good point about the food at the restaurant, because then they could do something to your food,
Yeah.
something gross.
Or they can hire somebody.
And then I guess the most important thing, though, is about arguing is, try not to argue
Yeah.
about double
Try to
touches.
be a peaceful man.
Yeah. But I think perhaps the most important message in all of this is, try not to get caught up in the middle of Gaga games about arguing about double touches and stuff, because, if you go too far with it, you're going to get Gaga taken away.
Yeah, since all my friends were arguing, now we have to wait until the next gym time to try again.
And that pretty much stinks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. A couple things to think about when not to argue. Maybe with the IRS, they'll make your taxes go up, or at a restaurant, they could do something to your food. And then, of course,
You can argue with your family though.
you could argue with your family, but
they
you want
might, but they might ground you though.
to. So,
That's why you should never argue. Be a peaceful man. Be nice to public. Never argue about your taxes. Just be a peaceful man. Do not never argue.
well, there you go, everyone. That seems like good advice. So again, Jack, thank you for your time this morning. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Jeepin' with Jack, and we'll see you soon.
See ya.